"17 easily accessible maps from a tabletop simulator game." Oasis Large. Double click on the Oasis Large. We're gonna, you notice the build doesn't pop up here either. There's no build button because these are just maps. You don't have to put 3D elements on this. You could just quite simply just start dropping your players on it and away you go. But what we're going to do here is I'm going to go to my objects quickly, saved objects, and let's bust out the Sandskiff Red and the red, call it deal. Alright, sort yourself out, Tabletop Simulator. Flip this guy back over, piece him there, piece this guy here. Now what is it these two, this is the beauty of Tabletop Simulator. I'm going to change myself to black because I, like little Valerie. I'm black! I'm black! Retarded white people. So, just like that, we've added a couple of 3D elements to this bad boy. Pretty sweet. Printable Heroes has a really frickin' slick-ass purple worm that I made that I could easily import and have it come out of these sands here, these oasis. So for this map here, I'd be thinking something along the lines of that. They find the oasis, they roll in, maybe see these two boats here, these two sand skimmers or something like that, just sitting there doing nothing. It's a great opportunity to give my players these vehicles that they can shoot across the sands with, and at the same time have them be attacked or attack some kind of horrible creature that is guarding them. That would explain why there's nobody around here. And then they could find some loot in here. I think that's a fantastic idea for a map. So, in order to save those two there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off parent view, which is going to change this part to Oasis Large. Oh, please tell me that I'm on. Yes, I am. I'm on the Tabletop Simulator part, which is good. Perfect. Okay. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pack. Pack in the zone, packs it into a bag. Now when I go back to Oasis Large, there's now a build button there because there's actually objects on the table. So, if we go to the main page, which is this one, it's going to kick in parent view. You can see it on the top here. And then anytime I load the Oasis Large map, it's going to change that map to the Oasis Large. And when I hit the build button, it's going to pop in the elements that I put on the... Well done. I forgot I need to talk to Alan about this. Joints break inside of tabletops, or inside of One World, which is why these things just fell apart. That is totally what just happened. Damn it, that sucks. So my saved objects in this stupid ass thing, Sandskiff, should look like this. Stop rotating, jackass thing. Boop, get out of the table. It should look like that, but unfortunately the stupid ass thing falls apart. So combined, that's sneaky. That's sneaky and that sucks at the same time. I did not see that happening. I forgot that does that. Alright, so delete, 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 delete. Here we go. Well, that just stinks. That absolutely stinks. And I know that only happens with jointed objects too, which is really weird. It's that happens. I wonder if there's there's got to be not a fix for it, but that's a One World issue for some reason. Okay, so let's clear this out. Delete this. So that's what they should look like. But when we hit the clear button and we go to build these, recalling the zone objects, pops everything back in place, but they lose their joints, and that's no good. This one, however, seems to be hanging out or holding itself up, which is good. So you could quickly, with this one here, you could just lock these in place, bust out the joint, and then just joint these two up and you're done. F1, take you back out, unlock them, and you're good to go. You can move this sand skiff around. So that's not too bad, but you would have to know that happens on this map. These pieces, however, they're not going to work that way because this third piece with the physics of Tabletop Simulator drags that one piece down. Crappy. Okay, well, that's neither here nor there, so let's delete this. So, we've got the Boneyard. With the click of a button, we got a cool-ass Boneyard map. I'm looking forward to finding out what the ICRPG Swarm is going to do, even Savage Worlds, basically anything. You've got like a whole desert bundle that I just created here. Little canyon map for some sweet ambushes, even if you're playing a Western or something like that. You could have your characters walking through the depressions here. Maybe they get attacked by some Indians or something like that up on the top part. Here's a little caravan map. And you don't have to throw in the 3D stuff. You can just as easily inside of this, as opposed to just consider that it's a straight up old-fashioned flat map. This is what you would see if you were playing like Roll20. It would just look like that, right? And then under options, you can go grid, you can show lines, you can adjust the size of the grid to fit to whatever. And that's all there is to it. Stupid ass grid disappears. They need to fix that a little bit, which is why it's kind of handy to use the other one. Show lines, turn that off. This grid's flip me tool, because this one doesn't screw up no matter how you look at it. It casts a shadow down on the table, so that's actually pretty cool. And the nice part about it is if you flip it over, you can go hex if you're a hex crawler. Change the size of it, which is pretty sweet. And it has a third option too, which is another cool thing. Under options, if I go to my save objects and I bust out my sand skiff that I just made, you will see, let me shrink this down to a smaller size so that it shows up better. Say on this one. So let's say you were playing and you were running through an alleyway. You see the hexes are moving across the whatchamacallit. So wherever this thing lands, you can now space hex out ships, buildings, rooftops, all of that kind of stuff. You'll know what the hex patterns are for, or the spatial patterns if you're doing stuff like that. And you want to keep track of, how many spaces your character gets to move. That's kind of a slick ass handy feature for. There's that one. That's cave entrance, depression. So this is kind of a slick one. You roll through the deserts or whatever. You come across this weird depression. Looks like there's some movement going on underneath here. There's another map in here, maybe called the Hive. Maybe they fall through and end up down in the Hive down here. And then you're fighting off some swarms of who knows what kind of creatures are hiding down in here. What kind of loot, what kind of pesky little animals or critters are going to attack your party down here. I don't know what this green glowing ore looking stuff is, but maybe that's the hive brain. Lots of ideas. These maps are fantastic. There's an obelisk. This one is a white obelisk. You could easily find 3D models for these walls or something like that, or just cut them out of GIMP and stuff like that, which is pretty, that's still easy to do. What else have we got? I think we did the dig site. Maybe this is the beginning of your story. Now, Captain Comrade Vladimir and his crew have cruised off to this dig site and they've gone missing. Maybe this leads you into the Hive. something like along those lines. You start building your story that way. Who knows? Big ass dragon skull, all sort of done in the same thematic sand kind of a deal. Oasis large. One of the maps that's out there. We've done the obelisk. Here's a pyramid that Blue Sword has drawn up. Great for some mummies. Actually, I think I have some mummies. I don't think I would have them saved, though. Saved objects. No, I don't have them saved. Named monsters from the monster manual. There you go. Right click. Let's search this deck and see what we got, because I'm pretty sure I got some shamblers right there. Kick this bad boy out into the map. Let's close this window down. Close this one down. Drag this bag off to the side. Let's say you want to populate your dungeon with some shamblers. Check it out. A little mummy happening, guys, cruising around in here. Not a bad looking little dudester. Shrink him down. Flip my hex over. Something along those lines. There we go. Control C. Control V. Swarm of shamblers coming at you. So cool, man. Tabletop Simulator is freaking top notch. Now, if I wanted to leave those guys in there, you would just simply use one world and I could pack these guys in. Oh, we have to take the parent view off, which is that little nub. Pack them up, throws them in a bag, and the next time I build the pyramids, it's going to give me the option to build, which you'll see up in the corner here. So we click on the pyramid, double click on the pyramid, and then now we've got a build tab on this corner here. So if you double click the build tab, it's going to recall everything that you left on the table, gets brought back up. Super easy. 6 shamblers in a dungeon and away you go. That is freaking fantastic. Let's clear that bad boy out. What else we got in here? That's the pyramid. Here's the hive map, which is also really cool. Oh, we already looked at the hive map. Let's turn off that. The maw. Now that you've seen the whatchamacallit, there's like a Sarlacc pit from some Star Wars action. That's pretty freaking badass. So here you go. What was the other one that we were just looking at? Not the dig site. The maw, the pit, the tomb, the canyon, caravan, boneyard, depression. Here you go. So, they find this depression in the desert. Not quite sure what it is. They go to investigate. The rocks break away as the tendrils fly out, and you just immediately click to the maw, and boom. Your party is now full on caught fighting the tentacle arms of this Sarlacc pit. Just like that. That's solid. I think that was the maw. So what is this one? This is the pit. Oh, this is cool. Once they defeat the Sarlacc pit monster, you could quite easily just load up this map, saved objects. If I go to my props and I go to my armor and weapons, no, we don't want that one. We want animals, arm, barrels, and crates, I think is where I kept my stuff at. Here's some chests. Oh, wait a second. Let's do this one. Nothing entices a party more than a chest. Now, if we right-click this and delete this name off of here, it shouldn't say anything. It's just a chest in the middle of a pit. I also have a... where is my props? Props, and I was under... What was I just under? Barrels and crates? That's not what I wanted. I saw it here. Pool of lava. Let's move this out of the way. Put this in the center, maybe make it a little bit bigger. Lock it, F9 to transform it, and you can drop it just under the table a little bit just by doing this. You want that to be up sort of right about there. F1 closes that down. Now this pool of lava has different states. Oh, you can just change what it is. A pool of sewage, a pool of acid. What's the last one? The last one is pool of lava. So maybe what's the first one then? Oh, so the first one is water. I prefer the acid. Wouldn't make much sense to have a chest in the middle of the pool of lava. So we're going to put this one here. Drop this giant chest. Your players roll in through this little side tunnel and they come to this room. They're hanging out, looking around, thinking to themselves, what is this? You have this suspended island that's held up by these chains. And who's going to be the daring adventurer that walks across these chains at a hard dexterity roll to try and get across to this chest in the center? Only to find that this chest is not what it seems. It is a mimic. And then, just when they think, well, that's cool, I'll just run back across the ropes, you're like, nuh-uh, mimic's got legs. Mimic be chasing. Kind of a cool looking mimic, too. Put her right back into the chest formation. Here you go. Drop this in the middle, like so. Lock her down. And then, if you wanted to save that, why does the pit... Oh, I must have done something already on the pit. Let's move this out of the way, because we got a build option here. Let's see what the build option shows me. I've already put down a bunch of loot in this one yesterday when I was goofing around, throwing out ideas to myself. So, let's unlock the loot. Delete the different bottles that I don't want to put on there now because I've had a much better idea. We're going to drop this gigantic chest right in the center. And then, inside of one world, we're going to pack this table up. Oh, I got to get out of parent view. Little star nub to take it out of parent view puts me at this map. Pack. And that's all there is to it. So, now when we go back to the pit, when I hit the build button now, it's going to recall the mimic instead of all of the other shizzle that I had in there. Instead of the loot that was there the previous time. So that's cool. All right. We want to get out of this mode. So we want to go back to the main level, which is this one here. Blue Sword Desert. Blue Sword is a guy that I found on Patreon that makes all of these maps. You can get 95% of the maps for free. If you got a shekel, throw one to the guy because he tells you that he doesn't care what you do with this stuff. It's open license, take it away, use it wherever you want. And his artwork's actually pretty good. There's Tribal Camp. Again, nice for a desert story because this whole bundle that I'm making is just desert stuff. You could find 3D trees that you could pop on top of here if you wanted to give that a little bit of a 3D element. Under objects, saved objects, under props. There's so many frickin' trees for this game. Here's all plants. Bust this out, right click, and we'll hit search. What are this? Trees dead. Trees tropical, burnt, winter, spring, summer, autumn, subarctic. Let's try tropical trees. Move this bag out of the way. What's in tropical trees? Gargantuan. Huge. These aren't really telling me much about what kind of a tree I'm going to find in this bag, other than the size of the stupid ass things. Okay, here we go. Just drop these stupid things around the table. Close this down. Right click. What is one small tropical tree look like? Looks like that. Tropical tree tiny. Kind of looks the same, just a different size. Not much point to doing that when, oh no, they do look a little bit different when you can just change the size of stuff in here. Let's get rid of this. This bag we don't need. That's done. There's nothing in that one. What's in here? 3 large tropical trees. And a gargantuan tree. And a huge tree. They all relatively look the frickin' same. They're just scaled a little bit differently. All right, so let's take the huge one to begin with, and we're going to drop it right over here. We're going to hold the plus on it so that it grows up a little bit, and it ends up looking like that. But we're going to hit Control-C. We're going to click on this one and hit Control-V. Click over here. Control-V, 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 and Control-V. Now, we can just randomly scale them to different sizes so they don't look so similar. And just like that, we've added some sweet 3D elements to this map. Let's make this guy a little bit bigger. Get rid of the stupid bag. We don't need any of these. We don't need any of these. We don't need any of that. And we don't need that. There. Just like that, we've given this map a little bit of 3Dism. We're going to take it off parent view, which is going to take me to the tribal camp. We're going to pack this. And the reason we pack it is because I want to save those items on that map. This will bring up the tribal camp, so now when I hit build, you see there's a build option here now. We smash the build button, and it's going to pull back the stuff that I put on here. One thing I do want to do is make sure these trees don't have a name, and I do want to lock them so when I mouse over them, they don't highlight. And other people won't be able to move them and screw with your hard-earned setup. Options, excuse me. Saved objects, props, barrels, and crates. How about we do this? We'll drop that sucker on there. And vase and pots and vase and clay bowls. Because I see that we've kind of got a couple of pots right here. So there's that. What you want to do too is right click, get rid of the name. When characters in game mouse over it, they're going to see the name. So what is this? Vase in a pot. Let's put this one right about there. Lock it in place. This one needs to be a little bit bigger as well. Right click, remove the name off of this, and then we're going to lock it in place. And then we got some crates. So first of all, we're going to take the name off of this thing. I think you can, yeah, see how this has a color tint to it? So you can color tint this, and let's try and find a more of a wood color, just like that, just by changing the color tint. We now have like, instead of a green crate, we have like a nicer looking brown one. And then what we can do is obviously these, well, not obviously, but these kind of look like they're crates. Control C, click this over here, Control V, rotate with your normal keys. So if I lock this in place, I can hit F6, and you can do a thing called a nudge, which basically is just like if you wanted to shoot a checker or flick something, you F6 will nudge it, and that's all there is to that. Just makes that thing pop over there. Oops, I think I hit the wrong deal there. There we go. F6 also does other stuff. Makes my scenes change inside of Tabletop Simulator. So yeah, you see the little hand, F6. Oh, I did it again. So dumb. Choosing it over here is probably what I should do instead of hitting the F6 keys. Is choose this flick and then put it there. F1. I gotta stop doing that. F1. I gotta change my keys, I just realized. So we're gonna lock this one in place. Come over here, we're gonna click here, Control V. Something is going on here that is making that thing sit oddly on that. What is there? That is weird. Alright, so let's rotate this one and set it here. It's almost like there's something there for some reason, because that thing does like a bit of a weird loop-de-loop. Minus, we'll shrink it down, Control-C, Control-V. We'll put 2 crates here. Turn this one. Choose the flick. Just to kind of shoot it into the side there. Lock them in place. Those ones are locked. Let's move this guy back over here. Lock him in place. Aztec Cup. Something's up with this model. This model here, when I move this over, see how that steps up? That's telling me that this tabletop simulator thinks that there's something there, and I'm wondering if it's this one. No, why is it stepping up? Yeah, it's sitting on top of something that's not even supposed to be there. Well, the remedy for that is actually quite simple. We'll put it here, lock it, we'll grab this gizmo, and then we can click on it, and we can just use these little arrows to drag it into position. And then it'll still sit flat on the map. Look at that, see, it's moving. Something is moving that. There's something there, which is really weird. Okay, so lock you in place. We're going to slide you right there. Click on you. Shuffle the position of these things around a little bit. There. Back to the grab. There, see, I just added just that quick. A couple of 3D elements to this map sort of make all the difference in the world. Pick this up, rotate it, lock and lock. Maybe there's a couple crates back here. On these ones, you want to have 2 that are similar. Set them off to the side, and there we go. Now we got a nice little 3D walkthrough deal. I'm sure you could find some rocks. Like I know I have some on different maps that I could put over top of this. You can find all sorts of different models and stuff like that, and then just scatter a few different rocks around here. Problem is I don't think I have them under... I do. Look at that. We're going to set this rock out here, shrink it down, right click, change the description because we don't want it to have a description. Control C, Control V. And then if we just rotate them, rotate, rotate, rotate right there. Okay, looks good. So lock, 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 and lock. Grab the gizmo now that everything's locked, and we can click on this and we can just adjust it so that they sort of mesh into one another. That one is the actual up and down that I'm grabbing. If you're not quite sure, these rotations would be off. So say 360, 0, 0, click off it, click on it, and it should be relatively square again. The circle one will allow you to move to other things. So if you just see, we can swing it this way. And then move it, tuck it into this other rock. It's kind of easy to position things. That one actually looks good where it's at. This one will make it smaller. Control C, Control V. 2 little rocks, 1 big one out there. Maybe these are barrels, which I know I have. Objects, saved objects, props. Barrels and crates. Let's put a barrel of fish out there. And a round barrel. We gotta go get them from over here. Who knows why there is a barrel of fish here? Maybe these guys were just at the Oasis. I don't know. Right click, change the color tint of this thing to a more suitable brown color. I do have a big brown barrel. Get rid of this one. Delete, put this one here. Make it a little bit bigger. Right click, change the barrel of fish, or delete the barrel of fish name. You don't want it there. Lock them in place. And as long as nothing highlights white, this gives you an idea as to how quickly you can add certain things here. It'd be neat if I could find something like this, a little overhead gate thing that I could put up. Let's unlock this, Control C. Move these out of the way. Okay, we're going to make this one bigger, because they wouldn't all be the same size. It's just kind of goofy. Make this one, this one. Now if you just lock them all in place, grab your gizmo. Your gizmo, once they're locked in place, you use the gizmo to move things, and that's how you get things to collide with one another. If they weren't locked, they would just sort of push each other out of the way. So if you want things to sort of like mesh into one another or collide, you have to lock everything in place. I need to change the rotation of this one because it looks goofy. And then there. F1, F1. So you can see it wouldn't take very long to sort of populate like rocks. There's other things that you can find, other fences and stuff like that you could drop in here. Looks like there's another couple of barrels or something back here. And tents. You can also find tents if you wanted to drop like some tents over top of these ones and just hide them. Or not. It's not a bad looking map for like 2 seconds of just dropping stuff on there. Another cool part is these 3D items. When the Arabian Nights come out of these tents, yipping and carrying on, my players will have some 3D elements to hide behind to give them the idea that they could take cover. Under objects, I don't think that I have... What do we got? Trees, structures. I might have a tent in here, but I highly doubt it. Yeah, well, watchtower. Woodpile, windmill, but no tent. There's a monolith. Check this action out. See, I'm just coming up with ideas left, right, and center. So we're going to pack this table so that we save all of that stuff. Next time I come here and hit the build on this table, bada bing, bada boom, I am just like that, I've got that table built. But I did have an idea because I want to go to... So this is the main map. This is like the quick selector, take me across the table. Obelisk. Double click on obelisk and check this out. Here's this obelisk mask, and as I was looking through my saved items, under my props and my structures, I saw a monolith. Right click. So the monolith already has the white tint, so this is probably going to be the color that it's stuck at. But that's not to say that I cannot make this into a gigantic Tower of Doom and Destruction. It's not quite an obelisk, but it is a monolith. Right click, delete the monolith name, delete, delete. It looks off because it's a different color. It needs to be more of a white sandy kind of a deal. Yeah, it was an idea. Props, structures. What is this? See, this would be not too shabby for those little fences and stuff like that that are out there. I know there's different rocks and stuff like that you can find. A broke-ass fountain. Alright, never mind those ideas. They kind of stink. Don't really have to worry about that other map. So, what map was that? That was Tribal Camp. Double-click the Tribal Camp. You can play with it 2D, or you can smash the build button and wham. Tabletop simulator, RPG style. Games, nope. Objects, saved objects. ICRPG. We want this one here. Savage Worlds Mini. Upload, Cloud Manager. Use this guy. Change the image, import, and here's my character. We just got to scale him down to the proper size. I think I'm going to do this size. Small is too clustered. Makes these lines kind of a little wonky. Or it sort of just shades the map out too much, I should say. There we go. Here's my character. His name is Chlamydius. My noble adventurer. Count the spaces, drop him there, he gets attacked. Hides for cover behind here. Pretty slick. Okay, so 8:30. I think this has gone on long enough. We're going to hit clear, clear, end. Beautiful part about One World is these bags, I can now save them. I can right click, save object. We're going to call this Blue Sword. Where'd you go? BS Blue Sword 1. Why did that make a funny noise? BS1. And then this one is going to be called, I should just call them Blue Sword 1 and 2. Blue Sword 2. BS2. Save. Delete, delete. Options, saved objects. There's BS1 and BS2. Anytime I want to play a desert-themed deal, I can now just pop these things onto the map, and away we go. I have different buildings. What are all these ones? I don't have... Let's go here. So this is one ICRPG bag, and this is another. The only gimmick is you just have to make sure that they're named the same thing. ICRPG. So, no, don't do that. There. What's in these bags? Lock. Mainframe. These are my ICRPG bags. So we got 4 links. We have the ICRPG character sheet create. So if my players are playing this game, this is an old one, that's why these images are missing. I have to redo these. But the idea behind this is I imported the PDFs so that my characters or my players would roll in and they would know how to create characters from start to finish inside ICRPG. These pages have been updated in a different version, so they need to be replaced. And then if you want to play fantasy, you've got your typical, there's your shadow, which is your thief, your archer, your priest, your scout, your mage, your commander, and then this is like your druid class. And then this one up here would be where the tank is and the mercenary DPS guy, or the mercenary tank, or sorry, the fighter damage, fighter tank, fighter DPS. So those are the fantasy ones. If you wanted to do like a warp shell, which is space, futuristic, you have all sort of the same classes, just called this robot's the tank. This guy would be like your melee DPS. Here's your rogue class. The gunner is going to be like your archer. Obviously uses a gun instead of a bow and arrow. The Zurin is your priest. Blip. Blip would be... Blip would be the same as the scout. Yeah, so he would be like Yeah, he would be the scout, the guy that sort of shoots ahead. The fragment is a magician. The Titan would be like the commander as well. And then the outsider is just your random. So that's what the point of that one was. If we go back, I don't have a link on that one. That's weird. To my mainframe. What is... Yeah, I'm missing a bunch of stuff. Clear. So these bags are junk. The random adventure table. Oh, that's no good. It's a good thing I saved those other bags. Okay, fine. You want to play that way? Deck of cards. With all the different images. The story architecture mode for ICRPG is pretty cool. Basically, it allows you to instantly draw or instantly build an adventure. Fill in the chart, then explain it. All right, so problem numero uno. I think we can move this out of the way. Is this way. Problem numero uno. What do we got here? Deep jungle. So this gives you an idea as to what's going on here. So there is a place where one can look into the black between the stars in a storm of magic. Some kind of portal has opened deep in the jungle, and it is going to release some kind of ancient either hero or ancient evil. And then you just keep dropping the cards. So you got a bit of a maze to go through. You have to find the old ruins. Here's some bad guys. A storm of skeletons are protecting him. I'm not sure what that is, but there's just other pieces. Maybe this is the big bad guy. And here you go. Here, old Bertha. She wants you to do this. The Queen has requested your presence. She wants to send you deep into the jungle to find the portal that will once again rise the mighty hero of the realms. But unfortunately, so this is going to have to go down to here. Unfortunately, it is a deep maze protected by hundreds of skeletons. But there is an alternative. You could go through the ruins instead of fighting the storm of skeletons. Man, what is that one? That looks like a flaming something or other. A fire pot. Anyways. Let's clear that out. Will this map clear or is it going to screw up? Nope. It's going to screw up. Can I unlock this? No. If I could go back in time. There. It's one way to fix it. Clear, end. These bags are broken. I have fixed them elsewhere. We do not need them. Choose that. Choose that. I've saved the bags. I don't really need to save the table, but I'm going to anyway. This is my Blue Swords dungeon. Overwrite. Alright, cool. Well, that's it for a little one-world tutorial. I got the rest of those maps in there, built my sweet-ass desert maps for my soon-to-be desert gaming campaign. Came up with a few ideas, 3D'ized one of the maps rather quickly. And yeah, that's going to be it. I'm going to pack my toys in and get ready for bed. Later. I'm out.